Good evening. Thanks for joining us. President Joe Biden came back to Wisconsin today for a major economic announcement involving Microsoft.
The president spoken during an event in Racine County where Microsoft plans to spend $3.3 billion on a data center for artificial intelligence. It's being built on land previously reserved for Foxconn. In the First Alert update, Jason Zimmerman breaks down the impact this could have on voters with the November election now just 6 months out.
President Joe Biden using this stop in Racine County to tout his economic policies, hoping this latest announcement regarding Microsoft will win over voters who are unhappy with some of the policies he supported during his first term in office.
Hello, Wisconsin.
Back in the state that could decide the next presidential election, President Joe Biden brought good news from Microsoft, saying the company's new data center will employ 2,300 workers for construction and roughly 2,000 permanent positions, saying its evidence is economic policies are working.
We're doing what's always worked in this country, giving people a fair shot, leaving nobody behind, and grow the economy in the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. When that happens, everybody does well.
Construction will take place on the same land where former President Donald Trump once broke ground for Foxconn. Biden blamed Trump for Foxconn failing to live up to promises.
Foxconn turned out to be just that, a con. Go figure. In just 4 years under his administration, instead of creating 13,000 jobs in Racine, my predecessor, rather than creating them, 1,000 manufacturing jobs left Racine.
All of this just 6 months from the election as both sides tried to make the biggest issue the economy. This will mark the president's fourth visit to Wisconsin since the beginning of the year and comes as the campaign prepares to unleash a $14 million ad buy targeting a diverse group of voters in key swing states like Wisconsin. Reporting in Racine County, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.
State Republicans held a roundtable discussion on President Biden's visit, saying the administration is, quote, hijacking Microsoft's announcement, and this is just an attempt to win over voters in the battleground state. While Republicans agree the expansion is a win for Wisconsin, the group focused on how Biden's policies on the economy and the border have crippled Wisconsinites.
There's a reason he's come back to Wisconsin. There's a reason Vice President Harris is about to be here, again, for the fourth time this year. And it's because they know they're losing in Wisconsin. They're losing in Wisconsin because they're forgetting about Wisconsinites. They're forgetting about us by allowing inflation to continue to run wild. They're forgetting about us by allowing people to just come over to the border and they're selling fentanyl. And for anybody that doesn't think that doesn't impact Wisconsin, they're not paying attention. Talk to the sheriffs, talk to the DAs, talk to police chiefs, talk to people in hospitals. We have a major fentanyl problem here, and that's why the border must be secured. The president's running away from all of those.
Wisconsin Republican Party Chairman Brian Schimming expanded on the Biden poor economy results, saying inflation has risen 19% over President Biden's time in office.